It is great driving. Lots of guys putting on a beautiful display this afternoon. Tell you what, also, David Reynolds has recovered some ground here. He's got between Van Gisbergen and Slade in his recovery. Remember, he lost time in that stop with a late brake pad change.
See how much curve they're using there? That's unusual, isn't it? Because normally you can't hit the inside curve at turn 1. It upsets it too much.
Well, your description earlier of qualifying laps is right, because in qualifying, you do that sort of stuff. You throw it at everything. You tend not to do it in 500k race, but at the moment they have to.
They are. And Winterbottom will be hoping that this lap car gets in his way, but he's not. He's done a good job. He's moved out of the way nicely. We'll let both of those lead guys by. Whincup a bit wide, wasn't he?
This is all good news for Lowndes too. Yeah, he was very wide. He struggled to get it to point there. Frosty will be looking for a crisscross in the last corner combination, or to come off the last corner quick to get down the inside at 1. But he doesn't have much in hand in terms of lap speed compared to Whincup, so it is not going to be easy. He'll be relying on something of a mistake. Quick look back to Davey Reynolds. He's looking at the back of Shane Van Gisbergen's car and he's in front of Tim Slade. That makes him 6th. That's been a handy recovery. So he's had to get by Holdsworth and Slade to do that. And there's the gears.
Bars now 7 and 6, bias 11-2.
James Small on the radio, and just in front of them is Garth Tander. Back to the lead pack though. Lowndes 1.4 second margin. Whincup sweating, and Winterbottom right here filling our screen. Too much curve on the inside at 4, kicks the car, delays getting the throttle in corner, exit speed down a slight tad.
Anything that upsets the car on the inside, bounces the car wide, and slows the rate that you can put your foot on the throttle. Mark Larkham said wide open throttle was the terminology used. And if that just contains that by 3 or 4 meters, it slows you down on the exit, and your ultimate speed at the end of that straight will be affected by that. So what they've got to do, they've got to be super accurate. Although you're driving the car so hard, watch this. They use that massive curve on the right, but then they can't use this curve. They'll be right against it, then you use all that concrete apron onto the straight and take all the load off the steering, run it right out wide where Larko stood before, pull all these gears, and now watch down here, you'll see a really good shot of Lowndes' technique. He turns it in wide like Brock used to there. Whincup tends to break it and move in. Watch Tander. Tander's got a very straight break and then quite a hard turn. Same sort of thing there for Van Gisbergen. Slightly earlier turn-in technique there for Dave Reynolds. And this is this really interesting little chicane piece that leads you then into very important corner. Probably the most important corner on the track, turn 4, because it's this big run up this roller coaster of a back straight. We've seen some of the greatest moments in Australian motorsport off the end of here. It used to be called the Big Fast. It was Marlborough country in the old days, and that was the domain of Brock and Moffat into this Dandenong Road historic corner.
Oh, that was a slow exit.
Wasn't it?
Jamie, he used a lot of curb on the inside. He had a lot of wheel spin on the exit. Now that's given Frosty a little incentive here. He's right under the rear bumper. Picks the throttle up gently and early. Runs wide as Mark Larkham described earlier. In the draft, here comes the change to 6th. Now he's sizing up the brake reference. Hot air going into the radiator, hot air going into the front brake ducts. Uses a lot of inside curve at 1. The speed on the inside of 1 is 115 kilometres an hour in 3rd gear. These corners are slow. This one here is just 75 kilometres an hour at its slowest point. And then gently advancing the throttle, not exciting the rear wheels too much, with well in excess of 600 horsepower. And gently coaxing those Dunlops off the corner. A bit of traffic to contend with here. Car number 33 is the Frenchman, Alex Premat.
Top 7 drivers still circulating in the 1 minute 11 lap times. They're putting down qualifying style laps after 154, after more than 3 hours and 10 minutes of racing. It's an extraordinary level.
Just want to have a quick chat to Mark Dutton, but I can just see he's concentrating. He just wants to let Jamie know that there's lap traffic. This is the sort of chat they have. Thanks, Dutton. I appreciate that, mate. Obviously, we're watching with great interest. Jamie seems to be just hanging on. He's going to have enough left to keep Winterbottom at bay to the end.
Yeah, I think so. When J-Dub jumped in, we made an adjustment to the car for the track gripping up compared to the car that PD had. And looking at the difference in the speed that PD had over the rest of the field compared to J-Dub, I'd put it down to probably the adjustment could have been in the wrong direction.
Yep. Okay, so he should be good, mate. Okay. Now, another guy I want to just quickly grab round here is Jeremy Moore, who is Craig Lowndes' engineer. Jerry, sorry to interrupt at this late stage, mate, but I just wanted to ask you, we're talking and hearing a lot about roll bar adjustments and Craig managing his way to the end of the race. You're his engineer, you know him better than anyone. What's he like to work with at this stage of a race in terms of managing those tyres at the end?
He's pretty good. Like, you hardly even have to tell him when to adjust the bars. A lot of times I go to tell him and he's already done it. So sometimes he forgets, so you just got to keep on him. But no, he's pretty good at doing it himself. So
you're a champion.
Very close, very close down at turn 9 there now. Winterbottom is well incentivised. There's traffic, it's Prema, he's in the Fujitsu car. And this is the opportunity now for Winterbottom to try and pounce. He nearly made a move, and the race director's called for a blue flag here for car 33 to move him out of the way. He does. This is a mega moment for Mark Winterbottom to get the job done. Very close to the back now of the championship leader. It means a lot. Moves positions on the podium, and importantly for Winterbottom, it would get him a big fistful of points, and he knows it. He qualified down the order in 15th. They've clawed their way back.
That was a better run. That was a much better run for Winterbottom because he got out of there clean. He's in the tow. Now Whincup will stay left. He won't be able to move back over to the right-hand side of the road because this will be the time where Winterbottom will pounce. Wow, that was close at the top of the hill. He looks pacey, doesn't he now?
Frosty can place his car a little more accurately than Jamie at the moment. You noticed he was able to put it where he wanted to over the top of the hill at 6. This is a great exchange between these two. 1.9 seconds for Lowndes is the cushion. So he skipped away while these guys are in an arm wrestle.
So just that exit drive, the straight exit drive that Mark Larkin was talking about before is very good on the Vodafone car. But the mid-corner speed, the flow, is very good for Winterbottom. Have a look here, turn 1. You see the braking is good. He uses the brake pressure still on the curb, middle of the corner speed good. And then that last little bit of the corner is where Whincup sneaks away. See how hungry they can be across turn 2 and turn 3. Now this is the spot. You can't bump the curb on the left and you've got to get out of here nicely. Very nice gear change that time. Got out of there a little bit further with less wheel spin. Anytime you excite the tyre there and burst the car into wheel spin, it's hard to get your hands off the steering wheel, catch the slide and make the gear change. That's Campbell Little.
It's his voice in the background talking to Mark Winterbottom and Stephen Richards with the headset on, listening to all the radio comms. This is turn 9. That was the tyre bundle that's been moved around a bit during the day. Incidentally, Tander's just opened that cushion slightly to Van Gisbergen by 2.2 seconds now to ease a bit of the pressure as that fuel load came down. We're going to get away with the weather, boys. I believe it's wet over at Avalon Airport on the other side of Port Phillip Bay at the moment, but it's dry here and has been all afternoon. The gap, let's check it, 1.8 seconds, Lowndes to Whincup. And Whincup's just skipped away slightly on that lap. But there's absolutely nothing in it between these two.
This was the little position that Whincup made the mistake to let Lowndes through. The slightest little wheel lock put him off. That's the spot yesterday that he went off the road and hit the tyres. So he's made a couple of blues through the course of this weekend. Probably hasn't been his best performance. These guys have done a very good job. They were the standouts with Dean Canto of the co-drivers.
Warren Luff is sitting there watching Craig Lowndes about to deliver Warren's first ever V8 Supercar race win with 4 laps to go.
Very impressive drives from these guys to run as hard as they had through 2 loads of fuel, 2 sets of tyres, and to be wringing the necks of these cars to this extent lap after lap after lap. It's one of the best displays of driving and the way the teams have presented their cars that are fast and consistent, reliable, as Mark Larkin pointed out early. This is very impressive.
So we're on 159 out of 161. In 3 weeks' time, we'll be doing the same number around Mount Panorama, but twice the distance.
Oh, you got it. That's better. That's better. Still, the exit not quite as good as the Vodafone Commodore.
Tell you what's interesting is the FPR car is very strong over the curbs, and traditionally that's been the domain of the Vodafone boys. They've been very good in that area, but it looks as though to me around this track, at least this weekend, the boys in Ford Performance Racing are at least equal to or better than. Look how close.
This is a go. This is a chance. And down there they've hit. They run into each other. He's pushed Whincup off, and down the inside goes Winterbottom. That was a very bold move, and you just saw Tim Edwards say, "What do you reckon, guys? Is he up there far enough, or should he give the spot back?" We'll show you that again. That was a very, very aggressive move.
Two to go, mate. Two to go. Eyes forward. That's obviously one way to do it.
Here we go. So down there, just see where they hit. Well, that's right at the B pillar. That's right at the point we've always determined where the peripheral vision for the driver is. The pace was here. He did a really good job across the top of the hill. He made ground down into Dandenong Road, and he dived. And then all of a sudden, contact, Whincup off, and off the road he goes. Now, there's not much in that. I can't see there being any action over it, but you can see the move was done, and that's the reaction after the contact with the FPR guys. Watch Tim Edwards. What do you reckon? So he says, what do you reckon? Press on. Press on. Press on. So they've made a call, and that's you've got to do that in this business. You've got to make a call and decide whether that's fair or not. And from a racer's perspective, I reckon that's really line ball, but I think he'll get away with it.
Yeah, I think he will, but it was so hard to call that one because he got up there. But it's the contact. I don't know. It's going to be a hard one. It'll get discussed afterwards. The way things have run this year, there's been general leniency. So that's what makes me think it'll be okay.
What a battle. Huh? The two series leaders.
And it was brewing, Scapey. It was just brewing and brewing. And when you saw Frosty arrive out of turn 6 and through 7 with excess pace, you knew that something was going to happen down there at 9.
And I think the problem for him, he wouldn't have wanted to do it there. That'd be one of the least preferred places where you're going to be able to put a move. But if you feel as though the opportunity's coming, you're basically compelled to throw it down there and see what you can get away with. If you do it at 1, you're more likely to get a clean move. Maybe at the end of the back straight. There's a wiper on Lowndes' car there at the moment. Maybe he's just given the screen a bit of a clean. 2 seconds is the gap, Lowndes to Winterbottom.
3 hours and 18 minutes worth of racing, so we're on target for a new race record in the Sandown 500. Smiles for Warren Luff. This will be his first ever career victory after 112 races. He did a super job for Craig Lowndes and Team Vodafone. They started from 6th. When you won it with Lowndes last year at Phillip Island, Scapey, you also started from 6th position. It will be Lowndes' 100th career podium, his 8th 500 victory. This time of the year is Lowndes' time. Enduro time. Lowndes and Luff win it. Mark Winterbottom and Stephen Richards on the podium in 2nd. Adrian Burgess gives Warren Luff an almighty hug. And Whincup, Dumbrell 3rd. Garth Tander and Nick Percat in 4th. Shane Van Gisbergen and Luke Yulden, the pole sitters, 5th.
Thank you very much.
And Davey Reynolds with Dean Canto starting from the front row of the grid, finishing 6th. It was a little mistake from our championship leader up at turn 2, and Lowndes was there to pounce. Mark Dutton, Roland Dane in that picture as well. He's a smiley character. He's a popular fellow around the paddock, Warren Luff. But he did the job that was asked of any co-driver. Push on in your sector, in your session, bring the car home straight. And Lowndes did the rest. And there's Will Davison. So from 27th up to 17th. Could have been more. And Lowndes is going to celebrate.
What a high-quality race that was. They were qualifying laps, lap after lap, for 2 complete segments of this event. And the 2 series leaders end up making contact with a lap to go for 2nd and 3rd position. This man in Enduro land is the master. he just steps up, Matt. He's just got his eyes on. He's 100% committed to this part of the year.
So race 20 out of 29 for the season. The provisional results have been through our podium. So Tander and Percat, Garth Tander was fighting all the way to the finish there, and that's a good solid effort as they go up to defend their title at Mount Panorama. And as we go through this, we can take a look at those co-drivers on the right-hand side. You've got to give 5 stars to guys like Dean Canto, David Russell there with Rick Kelly. Greg Ritter made a mistake. It could have been so much more for car 34. Johnny McIntyre had the toughest job of the day. He had to do the session right in the middle against all the regular drivers, so it was a tough one for him. Alan Simonson and Stephen Johnson involved in way too many collisions. And at the rear of the field, Michael Patrizzi and Johnny Reid after that big push into the wall for car 91 as Johnny Reid was getting ready to come through and serve a pit lane penalty, but car 888 will come up and pull up at position number 1. It's the 87th time that Craig Lowndes has won an Australian Touring Car Championship or V8 Supercar race.
Awesome,